Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. And we're going to talk about a very shocking change that recently happened on Dungeons & Dragons Beyond, on Dungeons & Dragons. It specifically happened on the Dungeons & Dragons Beyond page, on the View All Sources page. So this is a very important page. I go to it all the time now, and the reason why is I own multiple D&D canon hardbacks. I own the digital version on D&D Beyond. Probably about a year and a half ago, I started to buy only the physical bundle, right? So I get the So I go to Wizards of the Coast site and I say, okay, here's my $60. I want you guys to give me 2-week early access to that D&D canon hardback on D&D Beyond. And then you'll send me the physical copy, which has worked great. It's been no problem. So let's say the purchase is a little wonky. It's not quite as smooth as Amazon, but the fulfillment has been 100%, right? But here's the change that happened recently. At the very bottom, there is a new grouping of product called partnered content, right? Now, they've made exactly zero, in my humble opinion. Wizards of the Coast is Hasbro. Wizards of the Coast really doesn't matter anymore. It's just Hasbro. Hasbro has made zero actions to say that any of this is anything but canon. It's all canon, right? But they're saying, hey, this is partnered content, right? So this is saying, we built a Dungeons & Dragons D&D canon hardback for you. Here it is, but we built this with a partner. It wasn't just Hasbro building this, right? So what is under partnered content? Well, without a doubt, it is the most unusual, weird Dungeons & Dragons products that exist. First and foremost, the Rick and Morty box set. Absolutely bizarre. That, in my humble opinion, that product 100% should not exist, okay? And why should it not exist? It's a line jumper, right? What the heck? Who asked for this, right? Who's like, you know what I want? I want a Dungeons & Dragons and a Rick and Morty crossover, right? Maybe 4 people in the world wanted that. How many people wanted a Lord of the Rings crossover, right? How many people wanted a Dungeons & Dragons and Star Wars, Dungeons & Dragons is Marvel, Dungeons & Dragons and DC, Dungeons & Dragons and Harry Potter, Dungeons & Dragons and... Oh, I was going to say Stranger Things. Oh, get this. It is so bizarre. Stranger Things product is not listed under partnered content. It's listed as regular canon, as non-partnered content. It's the Adventure of the Thessala Hydra, right? It's very strange, right? But Rick and Morty is such a weird line jumper. Who wanted this thing, right? Why does it exist, right? And it really shouldn't, because there's 100 other products that should have that far more people wanted, right? And the reality is now the Rick and Morty name is dramatically marred with a scandal, right? Which is now like kind of rubbing up against Dungeons & Dragons, right? It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant, right? So, yeah, I'll tell you, I do not know why Rick and Morty exists. Both of the Critical Role books, okay? Call to the Netherdeep, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, partnered content. Get this, the strangest Dungeons & Dragons canon hardback that has ever existed, Tal'Dorei Reborn, listed on D&D, listed on Dungeons & Dragons Beyond, available on Dungeons & Dragons Beyond. The options actually making connection and allowing character creation with Tal'Dorei Reborn content, okay, but without the red ampersand. Tell me if I'm wrong. That is the only product on D&D Beyond that does not have the red ampersand and may never have the red ampersand, right? I think what they will probably do at some point is what they should probably do, I think, is reprint. They're not going to do that. I was going to say they should reprint Explorer's Guide to Wildmount and double the size. But actually, the exact opposite is happening on D&D books right now. They are going shorter. Dungeons & Dragons books are going shorter and shorter and shorter. Right? Just in case you weren't aware. That is definitely happening. So, truly astounding, truly amazing what is happening. Oh, and Frozen Burn. I think that's the name of the adventure. Which is really strange because I'm telling you, it is bizarre. Frozen Burn was literally an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons that modeled a plague hitting Forgotten Realms literally at the exact time when the Great Pandy hit America. Very bizarre. So partnered content is truly strange, right? But it is a new grouping. Now, what's important about it, right? It's a new grouping of product under View All on the Dungeons & Dragons Beyond source page, right? I think the reason you're seeing this is why Dungeons & Dragons wins. They are doing a great job of just building actual Dungeons & Dragons content. Real D&D canon hardbacks, real products that you can buy at an extremely high rate, and delivering amazing quality products, right? But at the same time, the D&D design team, the D&D architects, are saying, what is Dungeons & Dragons? What is Dungeons & Dragons? What is Dungeons & Dragons? And what they are coming back with is the answer is that Dungeons & Dragons is an amorphous, alive thing. It is growing. It is evolving. It must be maintained. It must be fed. It must be put out onto a field where it can run, right? And the reality is, it is something that is not fully understood by anyone on this planet. I think I understand what Dungeons & Dragons is better than anyone on this planet. And I would say my understanding rate of Dungeons & Dragons is 98%. I don't think anyone on the planet really fully understands what this product is anymore, because it is truly the most aggressive, adventurous intellectual property that has ever been created. And it has a kernel that is not recognized, a kernel of identity and honesty and truth and beauty that is not truly identified. Go take a look at this thing, man. Partnered content. It's a new grouping under the View All page on D&D Beyond. The other thing is, look where we're at now. If you are a D&D fan and you don't have D&D Beyond, actually, if you don't have D&D Beyond, you have no idea what's happening on Dungeons & Dragons right now. This is completely shifted. You cannot be a Dungeons & Dragons fan without a D&D Beyond account. You have no idea you would have no idea what you're even looking at. That's a massive change, a massive change. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.